When you board a plane, you trust that it will take you safely to your destination. But what happens when that trust is shaken? Hundreds of families in India whose loved ones lost their lives in the Air India 171 crash are still seeking answers. But they are not alone. In 7 years, from 2018 to 2025, Boeing's aircraft crashes claimed over 800 lives, exposing flaws in design, oversight, and accountability. Boeing, a name that once stood for aviation excellence, a company that helped humanity conquer the skies, but today that same name has become synonymous with tragedy, death, and corporate negligence. Among all these disasters, 3 incidents stand out as the most grim reminder that all is not well with Boeing. 3 crashes that expose a pattern so disturbing it will make you question everything you thought you knew about aviation safety. Let's start with October 29, 2018. Lion Air Flight 610 takes off from Jakarta, Indonesia. It was a brand new Boeing 737 MAX 8, just 2 months old. 13 minutes later, it simply vanished from radar, leading to one of aviation history's unsolved mystery. All 189 people on board were later declared dead. The culprit? A system called MCAS, the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System. Well, Boeing designed it to prevent the plane from stalling by automatically pushing the nose down. But here's the shocking part. Boeing never told pilots this system actually existed. They didn't mention it in the flight manuals. They didn't provide proper training. On that fateful morning, a faulty sensor fed wrong information to the MCS system. The plane's computer thought it was climbing too steeply, so it kept forcing the nose down. The pilots fought desperately to regain control, but they were fighting a system that they did not even know existed. It was like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. But Boeing's troubles were far from over. Just 5 months later, on March 10, 2019, history repeated itself in the most tragic way possible. Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302, another 737 MAX 8, crashed 6 minutes after takeoff from Addis Ababa. This time, 157 people lost their lives. The same deadly pattern emerged, a faulty sensor, the same MCAS system, and pilots who could not understand why their plane was fighting them. The Ethiopian pilots even tried to follow Boeing's emergency procedures issued after the Lion Air crash, but it wasn't enough. The system was fundamentally flawed. The world finally woke up. The 737 MAX was grounded globally for nearly 2 years. Investigations revealed the uncomfortable truth. Boeing had rushed the plane to market to compete with Airbus. Now, they had cut corners on safety, misled regulators, and prioritized keeping training costs low for airlines over pilot safety. Boeing eventually admitted their mistakes and paid over $2.5 billion in penalties. But money cannot bring back the 346 lives lost in those 2 crashes. And the problems didn't stop there. On December 29, 2024, a Jeju Air Flight 2216, a Boeing 737-800 attempted a belly landing at Muan International Airport in South Korea. The landing gear failed to deploy and the plane skidded on a concrete barrier, killing 179 of 181 on board, the deadliest crash in South Korea's history. Preliminary findings point to a possible hydraulic or mechanical failure compounded by the runway's barrier not designed for such emergencies. Investigations are still ongoing, but whistleblower reports from 2024 alleging Boeing's manufacturing shortcuts have fueled scrutiny of 737-800's maintenance and quality control. Echoing earlier MAX failures, Boeing, which once epitomized American engineering excellence, became a cautionary tale of what happens when profit margins matter more than human lives. The numbers tell a devastating story. 346 people dead in the MAX crashes alone, countless more put at risk through faulty manufacturing and design shortcuts. Behind each number is a story, a family, a future that was cut short. The Lion Air crash revealed Boeing's willingness to hide critical safety information. The Ethiopian crash showed they had not learned from their mistakes, and the ongoing incidents continue to raise questions about Boeing's commitment to safety. As we examine Boeing's pattern of failures, one thing becomes crystal clear. The aviation industry must never again allow commercial pressures to override safety considerations. Every time we board a plane, we place our lives in the hands of engineers, pilots, and corporations. That trust is sacred and it must never be broken. The victims of these crashes cannot speak for themselves anymore, but their stories must be told. Their deaths must not be in vain, and their families deserve answers because, in the end, no profit margin is worth single human life.